Okay, our next question comes from Gene from Soundview. How will Donald Trump's big, beautiful bill affect the people that have Section 8 currently? Please
Mhm.
thoroughly answer this question.
So thank you. I want to make sure that I really dive into these questions about Section 8. Now, at the very top, the One Big Beautiful Bill Act actually does not touch Section 8 extensively because that legislation affects what is known as mandatory spending as opposed to discretionary, something that is known as discretionary spending. And Section 8 is under that umbrella of funds that the OBBA is not considering. That being said, just because the OBBA is not touching Section 8 does not mean that the Trump administration is not touching Section 8. So I want to explain to you some of the changes that the Trump administration is eyeing and attempting to affect Section 8 residents. The first part of this is that the House Appropriations Bill, which is the other Republican budget bill, is seeking to cut the total amount of funds to public housing authorities to spend on Section 8 vouchers by at least $2 billion. And not only that, but their bill, there is a provision in there that would allow NYCHAs and public housing authorities across the country to raise rents on people above that 30% income threshold. So while the OBBA does not touch Section 8, the proposed Republican appropriations bill will have that effect on Section 8. The good news is that it has not passed yet. We do not know uh, where it is tracking, but it has not been enacted yet. So we are keeping a very close eye on any developments with respect to that. But that bill has not yet moved, and we will see if it does move. But that is something that we are tracking very closely. Another thing that we are tracking closely is that the Trump administration may be proposing a mixed status rule around mixed status families and their eligibility for NYCHA. We do not have a date for that, but we are working closely, and I met with the NYCHA CEO as well as several other leaders at NYCHA for how we would prepare and anticipate for any rule change there. And also, the other thing that the Trump administration is doing is that during the Biden administration, we passed something known as the American Rescue Plan. That included emergency housing vouchers for people in public housing and in general. That program, if you are in Section 8, if you are in public housing and you are using an emergency housing voucher, that was supposed to last until 2030. The Trump administration is now trying to sunset that uh, to next year. And I want you to know that we have gotten ahead of it. And I've been working very closely with NYCHA officials to ensure that people on emergency housing vouchers can experience a continuity of housing and be as impacted as little as possible by the sunsetting of that program. So those are some of the most specific Section 8 related programs, updates that I have for you. But again, we will be monitoring that appropriations bill very closely. That's the vehicle that's going to have the Section 8 implications. But right now, the OBBA largely does not touch Section 8.